Had a customer in a motorised scooter, his personal one, not store provided, come up to me at the sporting goods desk, and he asked me where the cans of compressed air are. I walked him over to some, and he thanks me, grabs a can off the shelf, and proceeds to start huffing it right in front of me. Somebody put bleach, ammonia, and Drano in the fish tanks. Another time, somebody sprayed deer pee all over the toy section. I'm really glad I don't work there anymore. There's not a single animal on this planet that I have more pity for than Walmart fish. Always stashed away in the cold, dark, smelly corner of the store with nobody in it. Probably going to be bought by some meth head for their poorly disciplined child and housed in a critter keeper with some gravel from their driveway in it, where it will die a week later because the kids stopped caring. Bless them. So I used to stock the craft section on overnights. I'm kind of an awkward person, so no human contact was great for me. This old guy on a scooter insisted upon sitting in my aisle for like hours, just staring at the needles. Okay, whatever. I stocked everything I could, but finally, I need him to move, and honestly, I was a little creeped out at this point. I mentioned it to my manager on my way to lunch. After lunch, he was gone. Turns out, he had died there like 5 hours ago. When I worked at Walmart, a week wouldn't go by without someone shitting on the ground somewhere in the store, usually in the clothes section. I actually did my sociology thesis on how the clothing aisle was the most prone to tweak-related floor defecation. I worked at Walmart for all my teenage years, and there was so much poop where it shouldn't be. That's the most disgusting. The worst would have been when some thieves attempted to rout the door, followed closely by loss prevention, turned around and sprayed them with mace, which then wafted into the store. A few seniors had to be taken to the hospital for respiratory issues. Everyone working in the store spent all day coughing as the mace lingered in the air, because heaven forbid they shut the store down and think of anyone else's health. Not an employee, but a very frequent Walmart shopper. All the Walmarts around me are pretty nice, never seen anything nasty going on, but there was an incident once that still sticks with me to this day. When I was younger, my mom had to grab some meds at Walmart in the middle of a storm. It wasn't a bad storm or anything, just very rainy, with some thunder, but it was supposed to continue for several days, so of course, the store was packed. So, we were in line to the in-store pharmacy, and there was a man who was clearly mentally disabled, with a helper in the front of the line. The man between us and them was this dude who in my young mind must have been a lawyer. Did not fit the stereotypical Walmart look at all. Wearing an expensive looking suit, perfectly gelled hair, literally carrying a briefcase, he looked annoyed that he was there at all. He intensely reminded me of Patrick Bateman, just an air of disinterest and arrogance, and was brushing his coat off every time anyone walked too close to him at all. Everything's fine, and the guy and his helper at the front of the line get their prescriptions and turn around. Just as they do, there's a huge thunderclap, and suddenly, the power goes out in the store. It's not pitch black, but it's dark as hell, and immediately, there's a commotion in the line. I look up just in time to witness the disabled man punch lawyer dude square in the face. Lights flicker, come back on. Lawyer man is standing there, holding his bloody nose, looking like he's ready to murder someone. Disabled guy is freaking out. Helper is profusely apologizing and trying to help lawyer guy. Lawyer guy waves him off with a glare, walks to the front and calmly says his name plus info and throws down some money. Pharmacist hands him prescription. He snatches wordlessly and turns away, brushing past me, still holding his nose, leaving a trail of blood on the linoleum floor. I don't know why, but the entire thing felt so surreal. I still remember it like it just happened. Wildest thing I've ever seen in Walmart. I worked at Walmart about 20 years ago, being the manager of the photo lab before digital took over, so my department was right next to the electronics department. I'm chatting with the manager of the electronics department, and all of a sudden we hear a woman yell, "Here it comes." We then see a middle-aged woman frantically scuttling down the aisle, holding her shorts near the back. She ran to the restroom, leaving a trail of liquid shit behind her. It looked like when a dog is sick and you're trying to get them out the door before they make a mess all over your carpet, and they keep stopping to shit every few seconds. An employee went in with a pair of pants off the shelf to help out. She put them on and made a beeline toward the exit without paying for them, leaving her soiled shorts in the stall on the floor. It's shitty to bring up because I'm trying not to make fun of the guy, but it's like 4 AM and this man dressed in a suit and a fedora comes in. No face. I concluded some kind of cancer had ate away his face. All he had left was eyes and a massive cancerous hole. He just gurgled. We had to have him write down what he needed. It was sad, but goddammit, it scared the absolute shit out of me, and I never really forgot. Ex-employee saw some crazy lady, probably in some kind of drugs, take out her tampon and throw it at someone, because they didn't like her tone. Crazy bitch just plucked it out and tossed it like a bloody hand grenade. Worst ever. Some people signed up for an oil change, then threw one of those household bug bomb foggers into their car while they waited. When the technician went out to pull the car in, it was full of white smoke from the insecticide, and the interior was covered in thousands of roaches, all trying to escape the fog. We told them to leave. Worst this week. Guy signs up for an oil change, and the technicians find 2 live cats in under the hood of the minivan. The owner came out to deal with it, saying they were his. I was a photolab tech back when Walmart had an actual photolab. I hear a lady shouting and huffing over the wall in fabrics. She's ringing the bell constantly. The one person scheduled there is on lunch. I'm in the middle of changing the paper in our print processor, and would ruin a several $100 roll of paper if I stop. So, I take 2 to 3 more minutes to finish, and start walking over to the fabric area. Back before Walmart switched from Avaya to Cisco phones, they were dumb enough to list extensions and paging codes at every phone. By the time I got over there, the customer had helped herself to the PA system and is screaming like a banshee for help. I walk over, press the switch hook on the phone to disconnect her from the PA, take the receiver from her, and calmly told her that the phones are not for customer use. She isn't pleasant, but not necessarily nasty. I help her get her fabric, print her ticket, and send her on her way. She seemed fine, no big deal. Wrong. 5 minutes later, the customer and the CSM, front-end manager, walk back to the photo lab. The customer is fake crying, telling the CSM I cursed at her and how horrible I was. I asked the CSM to step away so we can talk privately for a minute, and I explained what happened. The CSM even acknowledged that she heard the customer on the PA system. CSM seemed satisfied, and she and the customer walked back to the front. Later that day, HR calls me in and lets me know I've been written up for poor treatment of a customer. I quit, granted the next week, but it was a contributing factor. Other than people freaking out and throwing shit, and one junkie who continuously stole cans of compressed air for dusting computers to do whiplets in the handicapped bathroom, how that didn't kill him I still don't know, one story stands out. This elderly obese woman came in with her service dog, a little chihuahua or something, probably for anxiety, gets one of the electric scooters, puts the dog with its leash into the basket. During the course of her shopping, the leash goes through the grate of the basket, onto the floor, and gets run over by the wheels of the scooter. The leash gets twisted up in the motor of the scooter. Eventually, the leash gets yanked tight and begins to strangle the dog. The dog uses what little air it has to panic, but quickly falls silent. The woman does nothing about this. Once she gets to the front of the store, she decides to check on the dog, strangled to death 6 inches in front of her. She flips shit and screams at every employee she can find, telling them to do something, save her dog. I guess she didn't know it was dead. It was their fault, blah blah. The dog had been dead for almost 20 minutes before she decided to check on it. Piss and shit all over the inside of the cart that she didn't manage to notice or smell for 20 fucking minutes. I no longer work at Walmart. I unfortunately have no idea whether she sued or not, or what really came of it afterwards. I've posted this in another Walmart thread. It's still one of my favourite stories from my mom. My mom worked at Walmart for about a year. She actually liked it as she was more active, but she decided to quit after the jewellery department manager had a meltdown and started throwing jewellery at the customers. One old lady got pelted in the head with a heavy ring box and it was over. Turns out the manager was selling the jewellery to friends and family, but would keep the boxes and stuff them with rocks and trash so the inventory would stay the same. She had the meltdown before she was caught. They had to drag her out the store that day. I worked as a photolab specialist for 2 years and saw some really awful pics. The worst was a toddler surrounded by marijuana buds and guns. We had to get the on-duty cop involved when the guy came back to pick them up. Edit for more info on why the cop was involved. I believe the guy was in the pic with the kid and had gang signs with one hand and almost putting a gun to the kid's head. It's been a while, so it's a bit fuzzy.